What's up, y'all? This is GC Kinsey, and today I want to dive into gender expression and how we can expand our thinking about it to be more affirming and supportive of people's identities. If you've watched any of my other videos, you may be thinking, hey, GC, why do you look so plain today? Where is your usual glamdrogynous aesthetic? Well, the way I'm dressed and styled right now is actually related to this topic. All my life, I've always heard people talk about how much easier it is to look masculine than it is to look feminine. And that's because femininity requires effort, right? I mean, you've got hair, makeup, clothing, jewelry, accessories, going all out to look as pretty as you can. But if you want to look masculine, all you gotta do is throw on some clothes and go out the door. So why is it that when I do exactly that, just as I've done for this video right now, I don't get perceived as masculine at all? This is what I look like when I have no time for makeup, no time to do anything with my hair, so I just throw it back. No time to pick out a stylish outfit, so I just throw on some gym clothes. And they're technically even masculine gym clothes. I mean, not that clothing has inherent gender, but this shirt did actually come from the men's section. I don't even consider this to be gender expression at all, if we're being honest. I have done nothing in my styling to purposefully indicate masculine, feminine, or androgynous. This is just blank slate. I'm not a person who ever experiences an absence of gender, but this is what the complete absence of gender expression looks like for me. And yet, when I go out in public looking like this, as I do all the time to the gym or the grocery store or running errands, the only thing that keeps me from being misgendered as a woman is this. And that only works because my pronouns are literally on my face. So no matter what everyone says about feminine being high effort and masculine being low to no effort, the greatest irony of my life is that it always takes me way more effort to look masculine than it has ever taken to look feminine. That's actually one of the reasons I don't put videos out more often. It's kind of a pain to get dressed up for them. My particular flavor of glamdrogeny is pretty time consuming, and that's because I basically have to do my makeup twice. First there's the layer of contouring and facial hair, and then there's whatever eyeliner and lipstick and glitter goes on top. But that's what I've got to do if I want to reflect my gender as it is on the inside, accurately on the outside. And if all I want is the bare minimum of being called by the right pronouns, I can't just do nothing like I am right now. I am incapable of being perceived as masculine when I do nothing. And that's something I've learned from plenty of firsthand experience. And I want to talk about that, because it feels like another one of those double standards that I just love so much. I mean, what is the difference between me being dressed and styled like this and someone else who is dressed and styled in the exact same way who is perceived as masculine enough to be called he and him? Let's start with the easiest and most obvious one. Is it the hair? After all, longer hair is traditionally seen as a more feminine trait, and my hair is clearly long enough to be pulled back into a ponytail. So that's gotta be working against me, right? Except not really, because otherwise you would end up with characters like Thor or Aquaman or Tarzan being called she and her. But that doesn't happen. I mean, not only are they perceived as masculine, they're seen as hyper-masculine. So, it's clearly not the hair. Then in that case, is it the fact that socially acceptable masculine expression is very narrow, but socially acceptable feminine expression is very broad? Social convention dictates that if a man were to wear skirts or high heels or lipstick, that would make other people see him as less of a man. But if a woman wears clothing from the men's section, cargo pants, basketball shorts, button-downs, suits and ties, you name it, that's going to have little to no impact on whether people see her as less of a woman. There's a really excellent video about this phenomenon, which I am linking in the description. It's called Escaping Womanhood by QueerAsCat, and in that video they explain how hard it is for those of us who were assigned female at birth but are not women to be seen as anything else. And a big part of that is because any clothing, regardless of its traditionally gendered connotations, is perfectly acceptable for women to wear. It doesn't matter what I put on it, people can still tell I got tits underneath it, am I right? So does that mean the issue is just the physical features of my body? Because that's not really a part of gender expression, is it? I mean, we get to choose how we dress and style ourselves, but we don't get to choose the body that goes into those clothes. Yet our bodies must be expressing something to other people, because like it or not, they definitely influence the way our genders are perceived. This is exactly why you see a lot of trans people changing our bodies and not just our clothes. But no matter what we do, whether it's hormones and surgeries or a whole new wardrobe, it still doesn't guarantee that we're going to be correctly perceived as our gender. And that's something I talk about extensively in my video called How Passing Culture Fails Us All, which I am linking in case you want to check that out and learn more. There's another problem here, and it's this pervasive idea that we have to earn our correct names and pronouns by modifying our bodies or our style or both well enough to deserve it. And no one should have to jump through hoops just to get basic human decency. But even so, we've seen that as a gatekeeping tactic for trans healthcare throughout history. Don't dress appropriately for your gender in front of your doctor? Sorry, no hormones for you. We've seen it as a catalyst for discrimination and harassment and even murder of trans people, disproportionately affecting trans feminine folks who are Black or Latine, especially those who engage in sex work. We've seen it as an invalidation tactic, from our loved ones to our colleagues to anyone in society at large who thinks that we don't look enough like our gender to deserve their respect. And that is why I'm making this video. It is so important that we all start thinking more deeply about gender expression, that we analyze all the things that factor into how we perceive other people's genders, that we examine everything we've been taught about how gender is supposed to look. And you know what? It's never a bad thing to reflect more on your own gender expression and what it means to you, and maybe even explore it a little bit if that's something that piques your interest. Clearly, gender expression is not just as simple as using your outside to reflect what your gender is on the inside. There are components of it that are physical, that are social, that are socially constructed. There are parts of it that make sense and parts of it that don't. There are lots of different layers and nuances to it. There are lots of assumptions and expectations surrounding it. And there is a ton of room for our understanding of it to grow. So the next time you meet a new person and your brain starts doing that thing it does where it goes, oh hey, I can tell what gender this person is by their body and the way they're dressed, I challenge you to push back. I hope that you'll remember the person you saw in this video, who is non-binary, whose pronouns are he, him, and who is still seen as a woman even when his gender expression is this blank slate. And I hope that will remind you that whatever gender you're perceiving may not be the gender the other person is giving. So push back at those assumptions, and keep pushing back, because it does take practice. I mean, heck, I'm a trans person myself, and this is something I still have to practice every single day. And it's not easy because society ingrains those kinds of assumptions into us and reinforces them constantly. But it is so worth it, because this is how we change the culture we live in into one that's more accepting and affirming for all of us. If all of this stuff about gender expression has the wheels in your head turning, then I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to hit me up in the comments with any questions, observations, experiences that you have, anything you want to share. I think this is a really important topic for us to be talking about, so I want to get a discussion going. You can also hit me up with your questions and comments on other social media. I am GC Kinsey across all platforms. And while you're here, please feel free to check out some of my other videos. I've got more vlogs like this one about my experiences as a queer person, as well as makeup tutorials and cosplay music videos, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything new. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. I hope you learned a lot of new things, and I will see you on the next one.